from embryo to fetus. By the end of the 8th week, major organs of the embryo are formed and the embryo is called a fetus. The fetus continues to grow and develop in the uterus. In humans, it normally takes 39 weeks from fertilization to birth. This is called the gestation period. Let's look at the timeline. At 4 weeks, the heart beats and the backbone is formed. Length of fetus is 4 millimeters and it weighs less than 1 gram. And at 8 weeks old, all major organs are formed. The eyes, nose, and ears can be seen. Length of fetus is now about 1.6 cm and weighs about 1 gram. At 14 weeks old, the arms and legs are more developed. The external reproductive organ can be seen. Length of the fetus is around 8.7 cm and weighs about 43 grams. At 21 weeks old, its hairs has started to grow and its organ further develop. Length of fetus is about 27 cm and weighs about 360 grams. At 30 weeks old, its bones continue to harden and more muscles build up. The fetus is now almost fully formed. Length of fetus is about 40 cm and weighs about 1.3 kilograms. How are twins formed? Twins are individuals born to the same mother in one pregnancy. If an early embryo separates into 2 embryos by mitotic cell division, identical twins will result. Since identical twins have the same genetic makeup, they are of the same sex and look alike. If 2 ova are ovulated at the same time and are fertilized by different sperms, fraternal twins will result. Fraternal twins have a different genetic makeup. They may not be of the same sex and may not look alike. The birth process. During the last month of pregnancy, the fetus usually changes to a head-down position, with its head lying just above the cervix. Labor begins when the muscles of the uterine wall starts to contract rhythmically. The contractions become stronger and more frequent, causing labor pains. Labor can be divided into 3 stages. First, it's dilation. The cervix dilates to allow the head of the fetus to pass out from the uterus. The muscles of the uterine wall and the abdominal wall contract with increasing strength and frequency. The amnion breaks and the amniotic fluid flows out of the vagina. This fluid acts as a lubricant for the passage of the fetus. The second stage arrives with the expulsion of the fetus. The powerful contractions of the uterine muscles and the abdominal muscles push the fetus out of the uterus and through the vagina. Once the baby is born, the umbilical cord is tied and cut. The final stage is the expulsion of the placenta. The placenta detaches from the uterine wall and is pushed out of the body by further muscular contractions. Parental care. After birth, babies need a lot of care and protection from their parents. They depend on their parents for food, clothing, shelter, and education. Parental care is important for humans and it occurs over a long period of time. It ensures better development and therefore increases the chance of survival of babies. Parental care begins with breastfeeding. After birth, mammary glands in the breasts of the mother starts to produce milk. Breastfeeding has several advantages. First of all, breast milk is the best food for babies. It contains the essential nutrients for the growth and development of the baby. It also contains antibodies which protects the baby against disease in the early months. Second of all, the close contact between the mother and the baby during breastfeeding helps establish a bond between them. It also gives the baby a sense of security. And finally, breastfeeding helps the recovery of the mother's uterus after birth. It also reduces the risk of breast and ovarian cancer in the mother. Birth control. Why is birth control necessary? With medical advances and improved nutrition, the human population has been increasing rapidly since the last century. As population continues to increase, problems like pollution and the shortage of resources such as water arise. Therefore, birth control is necessary to reduce population growth. Birth control also allows better family planning to provide the best living conditions and opportunities for each family member. How can we prevent pregnancy? Birth control can be achieved by contraception, which means the prevention of unwanted pregnancy. There are three major principles. Some contraceptive method works by preventing the formation of mature ova and ovulation by hormonal methods. Contraceptive pills are taken daily by women. They contain synthetic sex hormones, which prevents the formation of mature ova and ovulation. Contraceptive patches and contraceptive injections work like contraceptive pills, and their effects can last for a week and a few months respectively. These methods are very reliable, such as contraceptive pills, contraceptive patch, and the contraceptive injection. However, prolonged use may result in side effects such as headaches and high blood pressure. A woman should seek medical advice before using hormonal contraceptives. Preventing sperms from meeting the ovum. By the aim of preventing sperms from meeting the ovum, three methods can be used, which includes rhythm method, barrier methods, and surgical methods. Let's start by looking at the rhythm method. The rhythm method works by avoiding sexual intercourse during the fertile period, the time when sperms are most likely to meet the ovum in the oviduct. This period spans a few days around the time of ovulation. Since the time of ovulation and the length of the menstrual cycle may vary from cycle to cycle, the time of ovulation cannot be determined accurately, and this method is unreliable. A woman can estimate the time of ovulation by recording her body temperature when she wakes up every morning. A sudden small rise in body temperature indicates that ovulation has just occurred. However, this fails to predict the fertile period before ovulation. The second method for preventing sperms to meet the ova is the barrier methods, diaphragm and condom. So what is a diaphragm? A diaphragm is a thin domed shaped rubber cap with a metal wire around it. It is placed over the cervix before sexual intercourse to prevent sperms from entering the uterus. What about a condom? A condom is a thin rubber sheath which is worn over the erect penis before sexual intercourse. Ejaculated sperm is trapped inside the condom and sperms are prevented from entering the uterus. Not only are condoms available to males, there are also female condoms. A female condom is a thin rubber pouch inserted into the vagina. During sexual intercourse, the erect penis inserts through the open end of the female condom, and ejaculated semen is retained by the female condom. In addition to contraception, using condoms or female condoms can also provide protection against sexually transmitted disease, STDs, such as syphilis and acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. Diaphragms and condoms are often used with spermicide, which is a jelly that kills sperms. Barrier methods are reliable if these devices are used properly. The third type to prevent sperms meeting the ova are surgical methods, vasectomy and tubal ligation. They are permanent methods to sterilize men and women so that couples can no longer have babies. A vasectomy involves tying and cutting the vas deferens so that sperms cannot be transferred into the female body. After surgery, a man can still ejaculate, but his semen will not contain any sperms. The sperms produced in the testes will be absorbed by the epididymis. As for tubal ligation, it involves tying and cutting the oviducts so that the ovum cannot meet the sperms. Ovulation and menstruation will still occur after the surgery, as the ovaries will continue to produce and release sex hormones, preventing implantation of the embryos by intrauterine device. An intrauterine device, also known as IUD, is a piece of plastic which may have a copper wire wrapped around it. It is inserted into the uterus by a doctor to prevent the implantation of an embryo into the uterine lining. Depending on the type, an IUD can be used for 4 to 10 years. This method is very reliable as long as the IUD remains in place. Removal of the device can resume a woman's fertility. The relationship with Chinese mitten crabs. After learning how humans reproduce, let's look at how the crabs do it. Chinese mitten crabs are a catadromous species. So what does it mean by being catadromous? It refers to a life cycle in which organisms reproduce in the marine environment, migrate into fresh water where they spend the majority of their lives, and in the case of mitten crabs, it is about 2 to 5 years. It will then migrate back to salt water to breed during late fall and winter. After reproduction, both sexes die. Although there are limited studies on larvae growth currently, the juveniles grow up in brackish water until late spring, March to July, when they start to migrate towards freshwater rivers. Although Chinese mitten crabs are seen as a delicacy in Chinese culture, it is not as welcomed in the Western world, as it is one of the largest invasive crustaceans in the waters of Europe, and its presence poses a significant threat to biological diversity. One of the major reasons is because of its higher fertility.
This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.